Hey guys, so tonight's video is going to pretty much be a dedication to someone who I know struggles with focusing. And I would have never thought about addressing this, but I realized that this is a very real thing that occurs to a lot of people. And I remember a time when I myself would struggle with focusing, but it would not really hinder me from going about my life. So when I was a student, I took school seriously. So I always made sure that I never procrastinated. And the only times I had my procrastination was in my elementary school years. I would often assume that I can get away with waiting until Sundays to turn in the work that was supposed to be worked on over the weekend. So we had this project where you take some soil and you put a bean on it and you wait some 3 to 4 days and you would see it sprout. Well, I decided that I would wait until Sunday to get the soil and put the bean on it and then see it sprout. Except that mine didn't, of course. And then the teacher was like, "Why is your bean not sprouting?" And I was like, "I don't know." So, that when my mom found out, she was like, "You're going to do me a favor, and before you play any games or distract yourself with something that's not school related, you will get your homework done." Well, when I became an independent person when it came to studying, like my high school years, I started to slack again. Like, I will never forget my environmental science class. I never did my homework, but the teacher would still pass me because I could tell him the answers and present information to the class. So, my civics class, also during my sophomore year, it was particularly challenging sometimes to get done because all of the classes that I had that semester demanded some writing. So I remember one worksheet that I made a note to my teacher. I said, "I got this started, I'm sorry, but I couldn't really finish the rest." And he still gave me a passing grade and he filled in the blanks for me because he said on the note, "You have earned a break." And then I decided to ask him about it. I was like, "Mr. So and so, I saw your note and this and that. Thanks a lot, but why are you doing this?" And he was like, "Well, because I know that you have a particularly demanding schedule and you also don't give me problems in class. You're always asking good questions. You're working. You're never disruptive. You pretty much rewarding me for being an ideal student, pretty much." So, and eventually he came up with a plan for me. He said, "I know that my study guides are huge. So, how about if you, instead of writing it down and turning it into me, come in early in the day, in the morning, and tell me the answers? And I'll grade you as we go along." And I said, "Wow, this person is accommodating me in this manner." And then there was another girl he did this with, and I feel like there was a guy too that he did this for as well. Pretty much anybody who was taking like honor classes were given this privilege if you proved yourself worthy in a sense. So that was amazing. But I felt like that spoiled me into making my conduct of, in a sense, slacking be acceptable. And then when it came to other projects, I had this thing where as soon as the teacher assigns the project, it's marinating in my brain. I'm visualizing what I think the final product will be like. So, say if we needed to design a poster for something, I'm like, I think I'll divide it into three segments. One segment's going to be, let's say this is social studies. Like in my sixth grade, we had a project about picking a country, a European country that you want to visit and why, and, you know, tell us some details. So I said France. I folded a poster paper into three, and I took construction paper and did the length and width, or sorry, the length and height of the folded parts, and I did red, white, and blue. So when I did it on the poster, it was blue, white, and red, and that's how I pasted it. That was my background. I said, I'm going to tell the class that the background is the French flag. And then I divided it into segments. The middle had a map, two kinds of maps. One was of the entire country of France, and then the other one was the continent of Europe with France highlighted. And then beneath that, I put the normal details like population is this and that, official language is this and that, and maybe their currency. And then on another section, I had some historical details. And then on the other flap, I had an explanation of why I want to go there. And yeah, it was a pretty simple project, but it involved research, and sometimes research can be the most difficult part of the project because not only do you need to find the information, but you also have to cite it. And there was nothing more irritating to me than citing something. I know that why you need to cite something, but I'm like, man, this fact is found everywhere in a book, in a website, everything. How do you know which source I used to gather my info? You just have to take my word for it. So for me, works cited is something that I just wish we didn't have to stress over. Because this day and age, when you type something, you'll know where it comes from. So I just felt like that's a massive waste of time. But who am I to establish what's right and what's wrong? Like it's like it's like a music copyright type of deal, you know? So anyways, but yeah, you guys, I never struggled with focus in general because I knew what kind of approach to have and how much time to allow myself. So, although during my high school years I became a massive slacker, it didn't mean that I wasn't learning. It didn't mean that I didn't have my sources or I couldn't come up with a plan or I could not initiate the executive function, of, oh God, I have homework to do. So I have to be focusing on that instead of playing my games. No, I could play my games for, say, 3 hours of the day, and then I knew that the final 2 hours of my day, I would work on this homework and I would be fine. Because I used to think that studying incredibly hard was the key to success. But then I said to myself, I'm miserable, I'm bored, I'm not enjoying this, I need to distract myself. And I found out that if I set aside a couple of hours to like distract myself or play a game or listen to music, I could come back to my homework and be focused and happy and energetic to actually do it, you know? So I guess this varies from people to people how um, everyone's focus is. Like, fortunately, my upbringing was pretty good to where my mom knew what kinds of exercises to give me to detect whether or not I was listening or if I had the correct approach at problem solving, gathering info, and all that. So I guess I was reinforced as a child to where when I got older, it was natural for me to just know how to judge how much time I would need to invest on something, you know? But for anyone out there who struggles with focus, I think that the main thing that I would personally feel like I need to dominate is just respecting myself. Like, not everything is going to be perfect in life. We're not all designed to be working 8 hours a day straight, for example. And we're not all designed to be working on things for long term. And let me explain that. You guys know about the college thesis that you need to compose. For some people, it's like 90 pages. I don't know the requirements of that, but it's something that you're supposed to work on for a year. But some people end up not working on it. Like, I remember watching this one video where they mentioned something about the college thesis and how you need like to work on it for the entirety of your senior year in college or something. I don't know, but anyways. And then they were mentioning how they procrastinated until the very end and it simply didn't work. Like, it turned out to be a horrible paper. I'm like, well, I don't blame you for that being a horrible paper, because I'm not, the way I personally am, I'm not wired to be thinking about, okay, today I need to set aside a few moments to gather the info that I need to compose this big document and be consistent about it. No, I'm thinking about, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I want to have fun, I want to play games, I want to be into sports, I want to work out. I'm thinking about everything except this college thing, because I feel like if you go to college and you're in your classes already, the time that you invest there should do it. The fact that you have to go home and do homework and then side projects on top of that, to me, that's insane. To me, that's madness. And of course, I know that it is possible for humans to be wired into thinking that way and being organized because, shoot, the way society and technology has progressed, it wouldn't have happened if people didn't have discipline nor took good care of themselves and had proper time management skills, right? But for me personally, if I can live my life in a fulfilling way and avoid all that, you better believe that I am. That's why I didn't go to college in part, because I'm like, the things that I will be undergoing in college is just not significant enough for me to really justify my attendance there. The goals that I have with my life, college is not what is going to get me there. I believe in myself getting me there at my own pace. So, for the folks who struggle with focus, again, I think you just gotta be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself, know your limitations. Just know that this doesn't really have to define you as a person. Whatever you're working on that zaps you of your energy and you can't focus on it, if you cannot focus on something, it's probably because it doesn't interest you as much. And it's like in theater. When you think about theater, you're like, yeah, I get to read scripts and act them out. But there are other aspects of theater involved in it. Like the theater classes that I took, it involved doing some reading, some finding out of actors and playwrights who are super dead by now. And I'm like, why do we have to do this? Why do you not teach me acting techniques? Like, why are you not being hands on with me? Like, talk to me about projection of voice. Talk to me about how to overcome stage fright or what to do if I forget my line in the middle of the act. How can I minimize making it obvious that I'm making a mistake? How can I conceal that from the audience and still deliver a good performance? Teach me legit skills, not the theory of it, not the like historical aspects of it. I don't care about that. I'm ready for the practicality, like what I'm here for, which is I want to be an actress. I don't want to learn the history of actors and all that. I want to get to acting. And I don't see how learning about other people's experiences is going to help me in the present, especially if the material that I'm learning about is not relevant to my path. Like, I hated that I had to learn about Shakespeare both in theater and in my English class. I only need one round, one dose of Shakespeare. So that is probably what affects focus. Some of it are factors that are beyond your control, and you won't know that unless you do some introspecting. The only reason I know about that phenomenon is because school got boring for me. School got boring for me because every year, every semester, we were reviewing what we were supposed to have learned the year before because a lot of people couldn't retain it. Why couldn't retain it? Why we couldn't retain it? Because it was boring. So if you think about it that way, I believe it can help you feel better about yourself. Just remember that your life will not end. Even if you fail a course that is supposed to be the determining factor on you getting a degree or something, just remember that your life does not have to end just because you don't get that degree. Let's name all of these successful people who have made it without a college degree or who did not even finish their education. I'm not trying to promote that you be irresponsible and not take your college experience serious. That's not what I'm saying at all. Like, if you genuinely are there because you are passionate about your college experience, then by all means, do what you gotta do. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, just remember that sometimes stuff is not tailored to suit you. And you need inspiration and motivation, and your environment plays a part in that. Maybe your college setting is not supportive for you. Maybe being in a classroom doesn't help you. Maybe having a small study group away from campus is what helps you the most. I feel like I would be that person. Most of my learning takes place on my own free time, away from people, away from stressors, like noise just messes me up. So if I can be in my room listening to my music, I'll be super productive. But just remember that if you struggle with something, ask yourself what would make it better? What would make you less likely to, in this case, lose your focus? What would help you? Are you better at working as a team? Are you better at working with another individual? Are you better at working by yourself? Do you need a specific feel to the environment? Some people learn when it's cold, some people learn when it's hot. You know, those little things. Spend some time learning about you, understanding how you function, and that may aid your focus. And if a project is serious enough, I would say avoid distractions at all cost. So say for me, during my high school years, my biggest urgency was to get in touch with my boyfriend at the time. I always wanted to be signed in to the computer or have my iPod logged in to Wi Fi and then have the notification on for when he would message me or something. You know, that distraction, it can really throw off your focus. So if you're someone who's susceptible to that, like you don't have that discipline to resist, say, games or socializing, do what it takes. Tell yourself, I only need to do this one time. Sacrifice myself, sacrifice my time, sacrifice my pleasures. I just gotta do it for X amount of hours, or maybe a day or two. Just do it. If that's what it takes for you to get your work done, that's imperative, and for you to not be stressful about it, then do it. Accommodate yourself. Just help yourself to help your mind function for you. See what I mean? It's like sometimes I tell my mom, Mom, I need you to help me to help you because you want something from me, but I'm not sure how to go about it. So if you instruct me about it, I'm good at following instructions. I can get this done for you. But if you are relying on just me and the power of my will, it's probably not gonna happen the way you want to, so just guide me. I'm okay with being guided, So yeah, you guys, that's really all that I have to say on this matter. Like I said, I'm personally not someone who struggles with um, focusing. And when it comes to procrastinating, I procrastinate when I trust myself that I will not stress when I'm doing something. Like, I don't know if I ever got to film my process for packing for when I travel, but I have never ever been able to pack a few days ahead. My mom always wanted for me to do that. She was like, "Do you have your bags ready? Are your bags ready?" And I'm like, "No, no, no. It's happening the night before. No, no." And if you think that I completed the night before, you are wrong. I do half of it the night before, and then I wake up with enough time for me to comfortably finish my bag and then get ready, eat, brush teeth, and be on my way. And I calculate that perfectly. The last time I traveled, I made it on time for everything, exactly at the times that I had predicted and made ideal for myself. So I said, driving down the highway at 65 miles per hour to get to the airport is going to take me exactly 40 minutes, and I am going to need another 10 to make it to the terminal. First of all, find the spot and then walk from the spot to the terminal, and then from the terminal get to TSA. And that's exactly how it happened. I was pretty much handing my ID to the TSA lady exactly at the time that I needed to, which was, the exact 2 hour window that I need to be at the airport. Like I said, I don't know how I do it. I just know that although my timing sounds like there's no room for error, I'm not worried about it because I just trust myself and I've done this before. I know what works and I know what doesn't. And if something is totally new to me, I give myself extra time, extra caution, extra fail safe techniques. And that's how I go about life, Like, I just don't take stuff seriously. Un- Unless I'm doing something that lives are literally riding upon this. I just cannot focus on stress, Like, I'm over that. I'm better than that. So yeah, you guys, this is absolutely not a video advising you on how to focus. That would have to be a different video. Like, I'll have to come up with ways that I think it might help people to focus better. But just remember, everyone is different. Just because there are people out there who can discipline themselves to follow, a routine of how to work on a project and it works for them, praise be to them. But it doesn't mean that you're a loser or that you are worse or not good or anything. Like, I don't know. To me, everyone has their specialization, and we all need to be honest with ourselves and be respectful and loving to ourselves. Do that, and I think the quality of your life will be great no matter what circumstance or what challenge you are facing. All right, you guys, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you are great at focusing, if you are terrible at focusing, and what makes you good and what makes you bad, and how do you go about fixing it for yourself. Um, and if you're like me and you're just carefree, then tell me that as well. Because seriously, I believe that a lot of things you don't have to take very seriously. So I think that may put people on the wrong mindset from time to time. So, yeah, just be honest with yourself, be kind, nice, and sweet, and everything will be all right. Just trust me, everything will be okay. This is coming from a person who has lost her house and just lost a lot of things, and I've built up and I've made it. So, anyways, I've never met a challenge I cannot overcome. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Yeah.